you're like in this in-between phase of the old version of you that you're releasing and this new version that's like dying to come in, but the compass just keeps spinning and you're like, just go south, integrate now. Uncertainty is a threat to our nervous system. And so we need to find a way to be comfortable. Welcome back, everybody, to Soul Sessions with myself and Yolanda. New name this morning. Oh, it's gonna be a day. I can feel it. How it's just come out. But today we are talking about when you feel lost, remembering sovereignty in the search for guidance and how that might play into our day-to-day lives and what that means for ourselves when we feel like we've lost our direction or feeling a little overwhelmed in the uncertainty phase, and when we then might choose to go outside of ourselves to seek a little consultation. Has that ever been your experience, Yolanda?
I mean, sure, I do a lot of inner exploration, but there are certainly times, and there have been times, that I will consult others. I'm not a big tarot person.
Yeah.
I do use oracle cards and things like that, but I certainly lean more heavily into my own guidance. I think what you said that stands out to me right now is when you feel lost. And that is probably not the optimum time to work on your sovereignty. I think a better time to do that is daily, right? Building your own internal knowing what your body's yes and no is. And these are little micro rituals and minor tweaks that we can do every day so that when you feel lost, when you're starting to lose your footing, you have that to fall back on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like when you're in your day to day, and I do the being lost to like being the little compass, and you're out in the forest and it's just spinning and spinning, and you're not quite sure what direction you want to go in. And so you're like, oh, shoot, is it northwest? Is it southwest? Is it southeast? Am I going south? What direction am I heading in? And really, those moments create this level of internal uncertainty for us where it's like, ooh, I might need to add myself for consultation. It's whether it's an energy healing session, whether it's channeled messages, oracle cards, all the different varieties, right? And that with the hope that direct, right? And I think in those moments, it's not about necessarily finding the direction, it's about what's leading us to the direction, right? But like, what is the purpose of being lost if it's not meant to be found, right? But really to remember that you're not really lost. This is just kind of part of the journey, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. I like to say that Source would never do anything to harm itself. And
Right.
so knowing that we are emanating from Source, we are a part of Source, knowing that there's no big harm when we can really truly look into our own unique sovereign field and find the direction that feels best.
Yeah. And it's like when we're feeling lost and when we're doing the work, what really is coming up is the lost feelings or uncertainty rises because we are dissolving our old identity and we're really looking to have the new one anchor in. It just hasn't got there yet. So you're like in this in between phase of the old version of you that you're releasing and this new version that's like dying to come in, but the compass just keeps spinning and you're like, just go south, integrate now. And that's just not how it works. And then from the nervous system perspective, what it's doing is that creates a threat. Uncertainty is a threat to our nervous system. And so we need to find a way to be comfortable in that in between, which is regulatory activities that would calm our nervous system. And then we can move into what some of us would call integration or expansion.
Yeah, and that points back to what I mentioned before, and having those, when you have the confidence to move forward in something that's uncertain, you feel so much better. And it's only because your nervous system is receiving it better. It's only because you've done those micro rituals that calms your nervous system, that brings you back into your center so that you don't feel untethered. And really, nervous system regulation, my preference is to call it nervous system flexibility, because you want to be able to be dysregulated and come back into regulation. It's like heart variability. At some point, you are going to have to run after your toddler or run to catch a cab or something like that. So, when your heart can go back into regulation very easily, that means that you have flexibility. The same with your nervous system. It's that nervous system flexibility that allows us to be at peak and at our threshold of tolerance, and
Yeah.
then to come back down. And so when we can do that, we can go, oh, this is uncharted territory. This feels really unfamiliar, but I'm okay. I'm safe.
And when we talk about like going outside of ourselves, whether tarot, astrology, fill in the blank for what your cup of tea is, what we're really doing is there's already whispers of our soul's guidance within that that's saying, hey, maybe you need a little extra mirror, right? And so, really thinking of this going outside of yourself as a mirror, reflecting back what your soul's already guiding you to find. But sometimes our conscious mind needs that, hey, go outside, go see here, to hear the whispers even louder, right? To shine your reflection back to you, because our mind, our logical mind, not our subconscious mind, wants to grasp these structural constructs to help us understand what we're going through in the day to day. And really, what it's these tarot or astrology or energy healing sessions are really do is just guiding us back to our own remembrance that we have the answer all along. So we're just reminding ourselves that these external resources are really just mirrors to ourselves, and they're not masters. They're not there to tell us what we should be doing. It's up to lean in, hear the whispers, and then take it in and discern for ourselves where that guides us to. And with that piece, it's maybe the information you're getting from these external resources aren't information. Hey, it plays a part in your divine plan somewhere down the road. So being able to hold nuggets of mirroring and seeing when they slip into your reality for yourself.
Yeah, the mirroring aspect is really quite important. And the way that often plays itself out is that whatever you're feeling on your in your interior, your life is showing you on your exterior. And so when you are having that disagreement again with a family member, your significant other, your boss, any number of things, it's really good to stop at that moment and say, what is here for me to know? What is this situation trying to tell me? Because it's mirroring something in my field, in my life, that feels like it's not in balance.
Right.
And often, what people do is they will point the finger and say, oh, it's them.
Yeah.
Well, newsflash, it's not always them.
Yeah.
It's often something that is unhealed within us that is asking for us to take just a little peek under the hood. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be dramatic. All we need to do is be curious about it and say, huh, there's something here.
Right. And then that just segues into like when we're accessing those external resources, when we think it's the other and it might be just ourselves, is how do we decide for ourselves when the reliance on external resources is turning into, right, on someone else deciding our fate? That's how we know we've entered like dependency on our external resources, is when we outsource our own personal choice, right? And that's way of looking at, am I going into external resources too often to make choices for myself? Or am I going into external resources because I'm trying to decide for myself? And that's the hugest differentiation between the two there.
Yeah, we all have that friend who will ask you what your opinion is, and
Yeah.
then they'll ask someone else in the friend group, and then they'll ask someone else in the friend group. And before you know it, they've asked all five people in the friend group and gotten five different decisions or bits of advice. And so, that in and of itself, if you're that person, I'm talking to you right now. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're that person that needs all of the different opinions about what it is that you should do, this is this is your sign. Take a look at what your own higher self, your own higher nature, your own subconscious, your own conscious is telling you, because that is also a version of going outside of yourself.
Well, and what we're really doing is giving away our agency, what people would call our own personal power, right? The more that we create this dependency to outsource our choices, we
Yeah.
are giving our agency versus sitting, taking in, yeah, figuring out, does that resonate for myself, which is very different. And that brings us back to the topic today is like sovereignty, right? That is sovereignty, is when you can take external information in, feel where it hits the resonancy button for you within your own body, and then make your choice because you're maintaining your own agency at that point. You're maintaining your own personal power.
Yeah, that's such an amazing point. We all have that agency and we all have that personal power. And it has been, to a large part, programmed out of us through our culture, our family, religion, the medical system. And so a lot of people know what their body is going through. But then when they go to a doctor and the doctor gives them a diagnosis, their entire ability to discern for themselves is just shattered because of this diagnosis.
Yeah.
So there's always an opportunity to feel what it is that you're feeling, to ask yourself the internal questions, and to find the place where you can really hear it and you really listen to it. And you have to test it out. It's not a one and done, it's not a automatically happens. This is something that you have to work with. It's a skill that you develop. It's just like a muscle.
It totally like a right? And I mean, dare we even say that our own limiting beliefs about our limiting belief self construct, we can actually maintain our own sovereignty, right? Because if we're embedded in our I'm not good enough, so I'm not worthy enough, so I'm all the not enough, fill in the blank of your enoughs, right? Or
Yeah.
what limiting belief you have, then it makes the reliance on these external resources feel so much stronger because we haven't been able to integrate self trust for ourselves, which is really sovereignty, right? It's being able to have that strong sense of self trust, which is
Yeah.
built slowly over time or quickly over time, depending on how ready you are to move through your limiting beliefs to change your perspective and how you engage with the world.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's my question to you. Maybe you can share a tip or a hack or a trick so that people can understand how you listen to your inner voice.
Yeah, it's really listening to those challenging moments, right? So when something's hitting the body that's a challenging, that might be hitting a certain limiting belief for myself, I
Mhm.
really take that pause and I ask myself, where is this coming from? And oftentimes I can tie it back to your attachment style or certain core memories that it's then look at my choices and how I respond and then just make a different choice for myself. I know it sounds so simplistic, but it really is. I've been sitting in this limiting belief class for the last 5 days and everything like he says it's very simple. It's like, well, they're limiting beliefs, but the craziest thing is you don't have to believe them and it's that easy, right? And you're mind blown because it's like when you can take yourself into an observer perspective, you're like, Oh my God, it is that easy. Okay, but now how do I do that on a daily basis, right? Which creates takes you back to the loop of uncertainty, which then get yourself caught. But being able to create enough space within your own body to sense when something, I like to call it the big like baseball finger, is like pushing, and you're like, oh wow, okay, that big old finger just pressed my button, and then that's my key to just go into self work. And sometimes it's pulling myself out into a quick meditation, sometimes it's just out loud talking to myself and, okay, this is a belief that's coming up, let's choose something different for ourselves. And it just depends on where you are in your comfortability with recognizing what your limiting beliefs are, and are you ready to move through those.
Yeah, yeah. I sometimes find myself as I'm cooking or doing something like that, something like a mindless task, tracking my thoughts.
Yeah.
And so as I did that last night, I thought, huh, that's an interesting thought. And so that's another good way to find your way back to a limiting belief or find your way to a limiting belief. Notice what you're saying to yourself on repeat. Notice the voices in your head and what they are actually saying to you.
And I mean, and that's part of going back to sovereignty. That's exactly what sovereignty is, discerning it for yourself, moving through it, and then recognizing that your external resources are really just sacred tools to bring you back to yourself, right? And that you are, do I dare say and make up a word, you're the diviner, which means that you get to implement these sacred tools or see where they fit for you. It's your choice of the day, right? So I guess a better question is, what can we do when we're lost and we want to reconnect to our inner compass or our own sovereignty, right? And how do we do that? How do you reconnect to your sovereignty at times where there's moments of greater uncertainty for yourself?
But depends on the day, it depends on what the issue is. I just go into presence. And presence for me is what's happening in the now, right? Because depression is often what happened in the past, anxiety is about what could potentially happen in the future. So I find that staying in the present and just following that moment by moment, okay, what next?
Yeah.
What's next? And just doing that, I can navigate whatever it is that's working through me right now.
Yeah. And I think it's just like taking that pause before you reach out, right? So if your go to is to go to an external resource, is taking that pause, piggybacking what you said to bring yourself to presence, is breathing into your body and just asking your, what do I already know that I'm avoiding hearing, right? Because we have the answer. We might just not like it. So we want to go get that external resource to find something more likable or more palatable for ourselves. And so just tuning into ourselves, and that's where you can then engage in some journaling or just some self reflection where you're looking at, what do I already know? And what is the answer I'm really trying to be guided to? And then use your sacred tools as guides and not authorities of your decision making, right? So you could pull one of your oracle cards and look at it and then filter it through, like, where does this land for me, prior to reading the description of the oracle card, right? See if you can intuit the message prior to getting that final message. Or even if you're getting a session with somebody live, is when they provide the feedback or the information, is then pausing and asking yourself, where do I feel that in my body?
Yeah,
And for me, right? And these are just some ways to bring yourself back to your inner compass.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, and it could be going for a walk. It could be jumping on a trampoline. It could be a mindless task because that takes you often to your subconscious
Yeah.
and answers come through there. But the present moment awareness is going to be the most important catalyst for you to understand that there's something underneath it. And I don't necessarily believe that we always have the answer. I believe that the answer is always around. And sometimes we have to move through. I have a picture in my mind of someone in a jungle with a machete, just like hacking down things so that they can get to the destination, right? It's not always readily apparent, to your point, but it's always there.
And it may be that in that moment searching, so this goes back to just being open to those limitless possibilities, right? Is that there's never just one answer. We like one answers because then we know what to do. But if we can open ourselves up and feel into, okay, this is a potential opportunity. Let me open that up even more and see what other opportunities lie beneath the opportunity. And then we're opening ourselves up to this greater place of growth and potential possibilities because we're not just pigeonholing ourselves into this one particular outcome. And that's what I think you and I both like to, maybe you like to refer to it differently, but I'll refer to it as surrender, right? Is just letting go and being open to all of these and knowing that your divine plan and your own divination will lead you to where you need to go next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But back to your original point, or one of your original points, is that we can only understand to the level that our nervous system is regulated.
Yeah.
So if our nervous system is dysregulated toward anxiety, we will continue to feel that anxiety. So bringing ourselves with our breath, and if we take a longer out breath than we take an in breath, say breathing into 5 and breathing out to 7, if we do that 3 times, that will bring us back into a parasympathetic state. And that's something that we can do all of the time. And the more you can bring yourself back into a parasympathetic state, say you get a text message that you don't prefer, doing that breath 3 times will immediately take you back into that more regulated nervous system state so that you can act from your sovereignty and your consciousness.
Yeah. And that's really huge because in actuality, we can't begin to deconstruct our limiting beliefs until we have regulated our nervous
Yeah,
systems. And it's interesting that there's different levels and layers to our nervous system too, right? Because if we can calm its reaction to one limiting belief, then we need to move over to the next, right? Until I have managed our bodily response that sends us into that fight or flight mode, which happens so quickly. And sometimes we may not even recognize that it's happening before we can even begin to heal. And that's like the forefront of healing, is being able to calm the nervous system, be able to tolerate some uncomfortability, uncertainty, because really uncertainty is, on the flip side of that, is just growth and endless possibilities. And but it's really the fear that has been created over time that keep us from opening up to those limitless possibilities, which is embedded in our nervous system. So if we don't calm it here, we can't even get to that place of endless opportunities, because we will be big baseball finger pushing every time we enter that zone of uncertainty or questioning or integration or expansion. And then we prevent our expansion and growth from happening because fear has now crept in. So
yeah,
it's this cycle. So being cognizant of how fear is playing into your stagnation is really important. In with the nervous system and your 3 breaths that you mentioned, I call that nervous system hygiene, and that we should be doing it regularly throughout the day to create this feedback loop for ourselves of safety, right, over time throughout our day. And that way, when something does happen, we're already in a calmer state than we would have originally been if we weren't working on system hygiene, right?
yeah. Yeah, and even noticing, for people that are watching now or later, noticing how you're breathing now. Do you have shallow breaths that are only in your chest, or your breaths going all the way down into your low belly, in past your diaphragm? It's really that diaphragmatic movement that allows your breath to truly move. Coming back to the breath, coming back to the moment, coming back to the present that we all have are the things, those are those micro rituals that I was talking about that really help.
Yeah, and for those that aren't breathers, like I know there's some people that are just like, I can't get into the breath. I don't like to breathe. It's not my thing. I'd rather do A, B, C, D. But in order to enhance your ability to get into breath, if you were to just slowly turn your head from right to left to right to left, it automatically simulates a breath. And so you don't have to focus on taking a breath. So if
Hmm.
breathing is challenging or it's not your cup of tea, if you just take those small movements, just and as many as you need, I just took a breath, it will automatically produce a breath. And so you don't have to think about breathing or be like, "Ah, I don't like breathing to get yourself there." It's just simple turns of the neck left to because you're also in that moment stimulating the vagus nerve, which is going to create some relaxation for you in those moments of stress as well.
It's great. It's great. So I see the chat's getting blown up, wondering if anybody has any questions before we pop off. If you do, please let us know because we'd love to answer.
Yeah, I will just take a brief moment to comment on the chat. I appreciate that somebody has taken great care and comfortability expressing themselves in our chat. I think what I'd like to do is just demonstrate my own sovereignty and discernment and send just a bunch of compassion and gratitude towards them and encourage them to also begin to work on their nervous system hygiene daily and really begin to look at their work for themselves and be asking that question of what is this doing for them right now, short of providing some commentary and really maybe get to a self-reflective state.
Sure. A little entertainment for
That's right.
entertainment, party of one.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it's, I can hold a lot of space for that right now and just
yeah.
do that.
And I see Fatima said, thank you very much. They have respiratory issues, so it helps. So, yeah, that was a great tip. I never even thought about turning the head from left to right.
And it automatically simulates the diaphragm. And
Yeah.
I'm not an active breather unless like I'm in the moment. I can take those deep breaths, but I'm much more what's it called? Having to focus on like counting breaths or like holding or
Right,
letting
right.
go. Like sometimes your mind wants to take over. So I find that to be really easy to engage in. But being lost isn't the opposite of being found, right? It's really just moving into a level of sovereignty for yourself. And over time, your sovereignty will just become louder and louder and louder. And by no means am I saying that going outside of yourself is a bad thing. It's not at all. Just making sure that we maintain our sovereignty when doing so, I think, is really the point, and that using them as guides and not the blueprint how we make our choices. It's a discernment process going into that.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, sovereignty is really taking back your agency. We are taught from a very young age to believe everything that other people tell us about ourselves. And so flipping that script and starting to hear our voice louder than the voice of other people's is when we can take back our power, take back our ownership, and we have discernment over what is right for us as opposed to what other people say is right for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's huge to filter all that through our own lens at any given point in time.
Yeah.
Just remember, the fire lights the way to our own person. So continue to light your fires and continue to move through. And we are all just our
I love it. I love it. As you said, fire, the fire truck started going by. So,
fantastic. And what
yeah,
a synchronistic way to end here.
yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Well,
Thank
great speaking to everyone.
Oh, any light language. Yeah, we could throw some in there. Yolanda, do you have any that's coming through you want to start with?
Hmm.
What a nice way to end. Thank you, Fatima, for bringing that up.
Yeah, yeah. I felt the sovereignty codes coming through there. and some discernment. So beautiful.
Love that. Well, thank you all for joining, and we will see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.